Whatever music can compare, we call it opera. There's always magic in the air, so just listen to the music and you'll find out of the blue that the ABC of operas for me and you. Good afternoon. My name is Mark Llewellyn-Evans, and I've literally run through the door from a workshop in Lewisham. There's a lot of traffic on Commercial Road. It gives me great pleasure to be here this afternoon to tell you about my project. I'm the founder and creative director of ABC of Opera. I've been an opera singer for the last 30 years and a special needs tutor. I also am a mentor for Big Ideas Wales, a project in Wales that goes into primary and secondary school, engaging in entrepreneurship. So, ABC of Opera. In 2015, I think, there we are. In 2015, I was asked if I would create a festival on the island of Sark. And what was very important for me is that the festival would become inclusive. There's this stigma about opera being elite and everything. And I, from a very working class background, my mum was a hairdresser, my dad was a carpenter, but they took us to the opera. And it was important for me to tell a story of opera in a new way. So we came up with the idea of ABC of Opera, the Academy of Balmy Composers. I wanted to engage children in the 500-year story of opera and to tell them that it wasn't easy for the composers, that they fell over, that they had to get up, that they needed resilience, which is what we're trying to educate and tell children with. So the key area of the ABC was a trunk, and the trunk was packed with 500 years of history, starting in 1597, in the day that opera was invented in the land of pizza and pasta, shaped like a boot, etc., where Perry, the inventor of opera, Maestro Monte, Too Hot to Handle, Perfect Purcell, Luckless Lully, all come alive one by one. And we travel from Baroque, that's a sheep sitting on a rock. We travel from Baroque to classical, to romantic, to modern day. So why don't we have a little look at ABC in action?
The whole concept of taking children through an historical journey of 500 years of music is genius.
To participate, experience the greatest music ever written, using caricatures of the great composers in a way which totally engages the children.
The beginning of the French opera was run by Lully, and he stabbed his beating stick on his foot and then he died.
I liked the fact that it was very interactive, so like we wouldn't all be sitting down on the carpet just listening, we would be doing things.
I enjoyed all of it, basically.
The amount of jaws that dropped was quite incredible.
We didn't want to go home. We were actually late leaving class. It's left them wanting more.
Opera brings together all the different artistic skills.
This project really enriches the curriculum in all sorts of areas.
History, language, geography, every part of the curriculum is involved.
So, ABC of Opera is an inspiring concept which could totally change the way young people and families engage with this amazing art form. There's a chance here to open opera up to a whole new generation. Welsh National Opera is proud to help and develop this company. The managing director, Leonora Thompson. So why are we different? ABC is interactive. It provides learning that is fun and engaging, provides powerful historical messages. It is cross-curriculum approach, easily identify imagery and a sense of place in the context of worldwide social and political change. Feedback captured are just remarkable. 97% of the children want to see the composers recomposing instead of decomposing, which was a line a 7-year-old gave me. Ethos and continuity improvement through an evidence-based approach. Slide number 3 here. We were in a special needs school just outside Cardiff in Church Village, and we were told by the head teacher that many of the autistic children wouldn't join in, and they didn't like the textures of velvets, feathers, and all of this, but he felt that the story was very important for them all. So we went in and we sang, we told the tale, and at the very end of the day, one lad in a wheelchair turned to me and he said, "You say ABC stands for the Academy of Balmy Composers. I think you're wrong." So I said, "Why?" And I'm looking at him, I've been told he's not going to touch the props. He's got a Brunhilde's helmet on, he's got a feather boa, because Wagner loved wearing feather boas, etc., etc. And he turned and he went, "A, B, C. Anybody can with the help of the Academy." And I think it was at that point that I knew that we did have something very special indeed. Cadoxton Stoon, which is the leading pioneering school in Wales, ABC builds a relationship with the children that supports and educates them in a remarkable way. It is the scaffolding for the curriculum. So we've now been to 260 plus schools. That's nearly 15,500 children. Cardiff City Council and Rhondda Cynon Taf asked us last year to develop a preschool programme because the effect of ABC was so large, so big on the children that they asked, because the new curriculum for Wales is saying that the younger that children are embraced in creativity, the more inspiring adults we can create in the future. So we've just delivered over 100 preschool Sing Me a Stories, that programme is called. From the success of the workshops, I was then asked if we could deliver a book. So, very quickly, this is book 1 in our series, which is Baroque, and then listed here are the other books. So we were asked by a Welsh publisher whether we would tell the story of opera as the workshops are, as an adventure book, as a kind of horrible history meets Harry Potter meets Enid Blyton. So 2 children, Jack and Megan, like in the workshop, discover the trunk, and they fall through the hole in an old music hall, and they find the trunk, and the trunk wakes up, and he's all discombobulated. And he says the only place he needs to go is back home to Florence to 1597. And what happens? The children wake up the Academy of Balmy Composers. At the moment, the book has been voted the #1 with the Welsh Books Council. And in the first 3 weeks, we've sold just over 600 books. There's book 2 comes out next April. 3 months later, the next book, and then modern. It's very important, I've realised, is the partnerships and working together. I mean, this has come from me and now a very small team. But working in partnership with the Guildhall, helping me with the Creative Entrepreneur course that I did. The Welsh Arts Council gave us £4,500 for us to do a research and development with the Welsh National Opera. The idea was that we could take the book and bring it alive into a stage show. Because my dream was always that we took the children to the theatre to see and hear opera, but not to see the operas. I think that's too soon. What I want to create is a new magical show. I want the Academy to come alive. Moon Dance is a charity based in Cardiff. They've just given us £5,000 to keep us afloat, really. Cardiff Sing of the World, we've just delivered the second lot of workshops for them. And they say Cardiff Singer is an international institution that flies the highest flag, which is what ABC also represents. Welsh National Opera and Graphic are our publishers. We are a very small company. There's me and 2 directors. I managed to twist the arm of 2 very successful ladies. Sue Roberts, the former Director of Facilities for the NHS, and Vivian Creevy, who was the Deputy Chair for Polka Theatre, or is the Deputy Chair, and the former head of the Children's Division for HarperCollins and Penguin Books. So both of them able to help with the IP and also pushing the project forward, because as you can imagine, I'm a creative There are holes in my, in my thinking sometimes. We need investment to go forward. At the moment, each workshop, for example, today, a workshop will pay us 650, so there's 3 people. They get paid £150 and 150 goes back into the company. And what you'll see from the figures that are quite simple, that each workshop just about keeps us afloat. But we need things like a website. We need it to go more digital, because all the schools that we've been to have asked if we can give them more. So we've just spent quite a lot of money on a teacher's pack, but we need digital stuff that the children and the schools can tap into to develop more and to keep this hunger for music alive. We've also got a university, Trinity St David's, which is based in Carmarthen and Swansea. We're then looking to now accredit what ABC has done and bring it on board as part of the PGC, which is also incredibly exciting. So to finish, this is our ABC song. Thank you.
Where did it all begin? The stories and the glories of the opera. Everyone loves to sing. It's as natural as breathing in the air. Italians took the tales of Greece not long ago, then sprinkled on some magic to make the stories grow. This little book will help you to see where it began. Our friends at the Academy say anybody can. Give us an A! A! Give us a B! B! Give us a C!
C, 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 give me a C!
It's the ABC!
The what?
The ABC!
The what?
The ABC of opera!
Oh. You don't want it again, I can tell you. It's catchy, that's the problem. There, perfect. That's my pitch.
Now, presumably, you've obviously had great connections with Wales and Welsh opera. Is it something that can easily scale to other places, other countries?
I think it is. I think because opera is truly global and international. I've just been invited to the Hong Kong Literary Festival next year to do a book reading, and then when they saw what we'd done in the workshops, they've now supplied me with 21 schools.
Right.
Sydney Opera House have suggested that we connect to schools. I think the idea that resilience, anybody can, that diversity is to be celebrated, which is what opera is all about, is a global story. I think, yeah, so, yes.
It is. If I may be cheeky and ask one other question before I bring my colleagues in. Looking at this book, well, it's beautifully produced. Is this for a bedtime story to sing? I mean, I see there's QR codes so that you download the songs. How does this book function?
So it runs alongside the workshop, but it also works on its own. So the Royal Opera House are selling it. Yes. English National Opera is selling it. But I see it for 7 to 11-year-olds to learn, discover, a bit like Horrible Histories. But it's, as you'll see in there's one page where Perry, the inventor of opera, says, "Is opera only in Italy?" And they went, no. And then the facts that are on that page are nothing to do with music. You know, it's like 9 time zones in Russia and 1.6 million cups of tea drunk in the UK. Some are ridiculous facts that we don't need, but they're fun facts that makes the children want to turn the page over. And I think I was told, you know, English National Opera have just said to me, are the children in the valleys of Wales different to the children in Lewisham? Well, having been there today, the answer is simply no. I think the children in Lewisham are more street-wise, but it's the same. We all love a story, and this idea that it's a 500-year story that encapsulates music, fairy tales, and also telling it. I think what's different about ABC is that the opera houses, up until now, and when I came here and explained my project to the creative entrepreneur, the opera houses, because I've done them, tell the stories of the operas. And I think to take the children to see Flute, Carmen, Marriage of Figaro is almost too big a jump. Yeah. So for me, to tell them that Monteverdi was a priest and he did this and he did that, Viva Verdi, Wagner went into exile because he offended people. we bring the people alive. Luckless Luli, why is he luckless? Because he hit his foot with a beating stick and he died. And suddenly, you know, we call him Silly Billy, Luckless Luli. Suddenly they want to know more about the people. And then we find out about the country. There's always a national anthem. There's an aria that goes with the composer. And that's a song that we composed with the children. But the other songs in the book are original music from Monteverdi, from Luli, from...
Let me bring in my...
Two things, if I may. Very impressive presentation, Mark. I went yesterday onto the dreaded Amazon and had a look at this book. 8 reviews only so far, but it's newly published. 8 5-star reviews.
No,
so that's a bit of a positive.
Yeah, BBC Music Magazine were lovely. A 5-star review a couple of days ago. So.
The question I've got, and if you'll forgive me, the area where I thought your business plan was a little thin, was how you're going to raise the funds you need to raise. You basically said you can't afford to keep doing this effectively for free. How are you going to bridge that gap? Have you got any ideas, any plans for doing that? Yeah, I think
there's lots of plans. So I think Moondance gave us some help. I think the big thing is that each workshop is sustainable and it does fund itself. And there's enough schools out there and they're rebooking for it to work. What I would like is that we're able to give more resources quicker. So the idea that we could set up a website would be ideal from today. The idea that there is just more available. So out of most of our schools that are involved in Shakespearean schools, we've been asked, could there be an opera in schools? I mean, not one of the opera houses has ever come up with that idea, and I know we could supply something like that. But to do that, we do need a little bit of help to put a bit of funds in place and to create something that could have a lasting impact on the children rather than... So I think to reduce 3 operas down to 20 minutes, 15 minutes for the children to have their opera festival would be fantastic. At the moment, that's on a back burner because the money's not there. So,
but is there a funding plan, or is it just something you know you need to do?
No, absolutely. And I'm writing off to numerous people at the moment, and also pitching to different banks and different individuals who I'm hoping will come on board. And also, there's different authorities. So, Rhondda Cynnon Taff, after booking 60 schools last year, now on about trying to help us start off the festival. And there's, you know, they've even suggested, which I'd love this, that every school in Wales has a copy of that book. I mean, not only that I would love that, but the idea that there's a story of opera book going into a school, it's kind of madness, but brilliant. So, yeah.
Okay. Have you had, we've all heard about the funding crisis for schools, and particularly with spending on the arts. Has that affected or encouraged your...
It hasn't affected, and I think there are different pots of money. So there are money, deprivation grants and various, like Lewisham today. So the headmaster happened to be a boy from Swansea, but he said when it landed on his desk, he went, they've done R&B, they've done steel drums, they've done this, why can't they learn opera? He didn't realise until today that it was the curriculum and many other things that were taught through opera. So to date, with the 260, 270 schools, we haven't had problems. I think there will always be the odd school who still think opera is a bit elite and not for them. And I think they don't find the money. And I think that may take longer. But if a university came on board to help us accredit it and to just tighten everything up so we knew exactly what we were delivering was on that curriculum. So I think yes and no is the answer, and I'm not trying to sit on the fence. We've got enough schools, but I kind of would love it to be, which is what I believe opera should be, inclusive. So it's not the fact that they haven't got the £650 to bring us in, it's available. And then let's see what impact it has on the children, because we know it's working.
And how did you set the £650, or was that set for you?
No, so the daily rate for an amateur or an opera singer in an education project is £150. So there's 3 people. There's a male singer, a female singer, and a pianist. And then there was £150 left for the company.
Okay.
And it was as simple as that.
Okay. So if you're unique, one of the things for me is, can you push that price up?
Yeah. So what I've now suggested to the schools is that it's £800. They get a copy of the book, they get a teacher's pack, and they get other resources which add-ons.
So are you moving towards effectively selling? You're not necessarily providing them with the singers, or are you?
No, I think that the first port of call. It was funny that I have two directors. One completely agrees 100% with me going. We have the initial workshop has to stay. I had another one who initially goes to me, you could go digital. You can't send a project into a school without hearing the live human voice. And also, I think what's very important, it's about anybody can. That's a human being being in the room, and me going out there to each of you and actually complimenting you on something or showing you what you can do. And with children, that's really important. So I think the digital is an add-on which will actually make the project even stronger rather than taken away. So it's not diluting. I think it's adding. And the teacher's pack has got things like making instruments, looking at the national anthems, because a lot of the national anthems were written by opera composers, and facts on the different countries.
So is there a way forward that you could package it all and really sell royalties? Because that's another model. Again, if you think of the whole of the UK, you know, if it works in Wales, it can work, as you said, it works in Lewisham
and it will work
so
elsewhere.
Yeah,
well, it's funny, last night I sat where you are, because it was the creative entrepreneurs, and I was on the panel, but it was interesting, the chap sitting on the panel with me, it was an IP lawyer, and he said, I think we need to talk about this. So yes, and it's me learning. You know, I am a creative who had an idea that, touch wood, seems to be working.
I'm going to wrap this up because in the interest of time, I think we need to disappear and start talking.
No,
thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's good to know.